Well, thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and it is my pleasure to open today's debate on the behalf of the official opposition. And can I start by welcoming the new Secretary of State and Ministers to their place on the front bench. I look forward to what I'm sure will be plenty of robust but fair debate in the coming weeks and months ahead. And I also congratulate my right honourable friend for Gosport on her unopposed return as the Chair of the Culture, Media and Sports Committee. I agree with the Secretary of State's remarks a few weeks ago that the mark of any good government is the ability to welcome challenge. And I'm sure that as the official opposition, alongside the Select Committee, we will do just that in the spirit of healthy competition and in the national interest. Own goals, knock-ons and false starts are sporting phrases that could easily describe the shambolic first 100 days of this Labour government. But thankfully, these words did not reflect the performances of our Olympic and Paralympic athletes in Paris, who did their country proud again this summer. Whilst there was a reduction in the overall amount of British gold, not for the first time under a new Labour government, the 327 athletes who made up Team GB at the Paris Olympics delivered a respectable 7th place finish in the medal table, winning a total of 65 medals from across 18 different sports. We saw Ellie Aldridge become the first Olympic gold medalist in kitesurfing. Kate Shortman and Izzy Thorpe won Team GB's first ever Olympic medal in artistic swimming, not something I know too much about, while Toby Roberts became the first medalist for Team GB in sport climbing, winning gold in the boulder and lead combined. And who can forget the emotional scenes of watching Andy Murray's last appearance on court after a fantastic career, or the breathtaking drama of the athletics relays, GB's rowers surging to victory near the finish line, or my personal favourite that's been referenced already by the Minister, the sprint finish of Alex Yee, who reminded the world not to write off us South East Londoners. And the same spirit was clearly demonstrated by our fantastic Paralympic athletes over the summer, with Great Britain's finishing second in the medal table on 49 gold medals, making the third consecutive second-place finish for Great Britain in the Paralympic Games, an achievement I know the whole House and country will celebrate. With 8 more gold medals won than in Tokyo 3 years ago, the ParalympicsGB team also equalled another record set then, winning medals across 18 of the 19 sports the team competed in, still the highest of any nation ever, with more than half of the 215 athletes in the team also reaching the podium. And whilst Labour MPs were busy shaking it off to Taylor Swift, Dame Sarah Storey was on her bike, adding to her personal medal haul with a level of consistency and performance similar to that of England's now all-time leading run scorer, Joe Root. And who can forget the incredible personal achievements of para-swimmers Poppy Maskill and Alice Tai, and wheelchair racer Sammy Kinghorn, who all left Paris with 5 medals each. But as any athlete or sports enthusiast knows, sport is nothing without the fans, coaches and thousands of volunteers across our great nation who help support our grassroots clubs and top-class athletes to achieve their dreams and to inspire the next generation. And this summer was no different, with excellent coverage from the likes of the BBC and Channel 4, allowing an estimated 56 million viewers to witness another triumph of British sport, and once again, our athletes showcased the best of British endeavour, character and competitive spirit. Madam Deputy Speaker, Britain invented the majority of the world's great sports. 19th century Britain was the cradle of a leisure revolution, every bit as significant as the agriculture and industrial revolutions we launched in the century before. These are the words of former Prime Minister Sir John Major, which still ring true today. And as the Conservative Party, we have maintained his commitment to our athletes, from the grassroots all the way to those elite athletes competing at the international level. And before I move on to talk about the proud record as Conservatives supporting UK sport, I must highlight in particular the crucial role of National Lottery funding. The National Lottery, established by a Conservative government, has now funded elite-level sport for more than 3 decades. In fact, in the years 2013 to 2017, the National Lottery donated £337 million to the funding of UK sport. And according to that fantastic organisation, since the National Lottery funding began for Olympic and Paralympics, British athletes have won a total of 863 medals. This funding has transformed Britain's fortunes from finished 36th in the Olympic medal table at Atlanta 1996 with only 1 gold, to today, where we are undoubtedly an Olympic and Paralympic powerhouse. More broadly, the National Lottery has, since its creation, invested more than £49 billion into good causes across the country, and more than £14 million into my own constituency of Old Bexley and Sidcup. And I'm pleased that so many honourable and right honourable members were able to meet some of these excellent organisations in Parliament just yesterday. Over the last 14 years, the Conservative Party, working alongside many fantastic sporting bodies, has backed our elite athletes. We have seen the Lionesses win a European Championship, and our men's team reach a major final for the first time since 1966. We won't talk too much about the result. And we brought football home with the Euro 2020's finals played in Wembley Stadium, and we have secured the competition's return in 2028 when the UK and Ireland will host the European Championships. The London Olympics, where we all watched as our British athletes led the pack in swimming, cycling and so many other sports, alongside the fantastic Commonwealth Games in both 2014 and 2022, which have combined to inspire a new generation of athletes to greatness on our watch. Where Labour delivered the so-called austerity Olympics in 1948, we delivered the best Olympic Games for a generation, and I personally believe that the world has ever seen. And who can forget the incredible opening ceremony and the role played by Her late Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II. We committed more than £9 billion to make sure that as a nation, we could ensure that the Games were the most inspiring for our constituents that they could be, despite the financial challenges inherited from the Labour government in 2010. The then Prime Minister, Lord Cameron, correctly believed that hosting the Olympics would secure a range of benefits over and above the intrinsic impact on sport, embracing trade, regeneration and national well-being. He was undoubtedly correct. After we delivered the London 2012 Olympic Games for the nation and the world, we promised not to stop there. We committed to delivering an Olympic legacy that the country could be proud of for the decade following the Games in 5 key areas. Yes, we'll give way.
I'm very grateful to him for giving way, and he's talking now about the legacy post the London Olympics. One of those legacies is the amount of PE taught in the schools went down by 45,000 hours under that government. The gap between the amount of state schools doing team sports and independent schools doing team sports rocketed over that period. Isn't the real legacy that we saw from his government was that school sport was massively diminished, and actually he should be apologising for the record of his government in that regard.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It was only a matter of time before the Labour benches come out swinging. What I would say is if you look at the record of the previous Labour government in terms of selling off sports pitches, I think we could have a much longer debate about whose legacy is worse than whose. But we began to deliver on the Olympics promise right away. The 2015 DCMS report, A Living Legacy 2010 to 2015, Sport Policy and Investment, confirmed that 1.6 million more people were playing sport once a week than when London won the Olympic bid under Labour in 2005. To build out this significant improvement, the previous Conservative government backed our up-and-coming athletes with more than £1.35 billion for grassroots sports facilities across the country to ensure that they have the best facilities possible to achieve their potential. Funding from the Conservative governments has also seen over £320 million invested into grassroots sports across the country between 2021 to 2025 to build, renovate and maintain grass pitches and multi-sports facilities. This included up to 8,000 new and improved multi-sport grassroots facilities and pitches across the whole of the UK, helping the next generation to avoid the waterlogged and muddy pitches that I remember not so fondly from my own experiences of growing up playing football and rugby. £21.9 million was provided to renovate over 3,000 tennis courts across Scotland, England and Wales between 2022 and 2024. Over £60 million was provided by the last government through the Swimming Pool Support Fund in 2023 and 2024 to support public swimming pool providers in England with immediate cost pressures and to provide investment to make facilities sustainable in the longer term. And as most people will appreciate, swimming is not just a fantastic sport, but also a key life skill. And communities across the country have also benefited from the last government's Community Ownership Fund, which helped save more than 330 pubs, sports clubs, arts venues and other precious community spaces. And lastly, we must not forget the £30 million Lionesses Futures Fund, which is helping to provide opportunities for the next generation of Lionesses. The £30 million is being used to build approximately 30 new state-of-the-art pitches and accompanying facilities. These sites will be designed to prioritise women and girls teams across England. Importantly, the prominence of female athletes such as the Lionesses, Dame Kelly Holmes and Dame Jessica Ennis-Hill, has helped improve the number of women in England who participate in sport and physical activity. And that legacy continues with an extra 550,000 women participating compared to 8 years ago. Of course, there is more to do, but the steady increase in participation shows that the legacy of the London Games is a marathon, not a sprint. And it is not often that I will be positive about Arsenal, Madam Deputy Speaker. But the Prime Minister will be pleased that their women's team is leading the way in women's football, with role models like Leah Williamson helping attendance at the Emirates continue to grow to record levels. The women's team sold out the Emirates several times last season, and their average attendance was better than 10 Premier League clubs. Now, as we move on from the Paris Games towards Los Angeles in 2028, another round of great British athletes will be inspiring more of the next generation. Whilst nothing will compare to the home games delivered by my right honourable friend for Godalming and Ash and Boris Johnson as Mayor of London, these most recent games will surely provide a springboard for a new generation of athletes to begin their ascendancy to the peak of world sport. As the official opposition, we will hold the government's feet to the fire to ensure that they support our athletes from Sunday League to Premier League so they continue to perform at the pinnacle of world sport as they have done over the past 14 years. And in doing so, we remember the crucial role that sport plays in our communities and in our health, and I agree with the Minister's earlier comments. And in ending my opening comments, I hope that we will all finally learn more today about Labour's funding plans to support great British sport and to continue the strong Conservative legacy that they have inherited, because sport is much more than just free tickets. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.